What do you think heaven looks like? For a lot of us, the image comes almost automatically. Clouds, harps, golden gates, white robes, and people floating somewhere far away forever. But here is the surprising part. That is not really the picture the Bible gives us. If you think heaven means sitting on a cloud for eternity, doing nothing, Scripture's description of our future may completely surprise you. Because according to the Bible, our final hope is not simply leaving earth behind. It is renewed creation, resurrected bodies, cities, nations, work, worship, relationships, feasting, beauty, and most importantly, God Himself dwelling with His people. So what will eternity actually look like? And what will we be doing forever? Let's start near the end of the Bible. In Revelation 21, John says, "Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away." Then John sees something remarkable. The holy city, the New Jerusalem, comes down out of heaven from God. Notice the direction. It comes down. Not humanity escaping upward forever, but God's dwelling coming down to be with humanity. Then John hears a loud voice saying, "Look, God's dwelling place is now among the people, and He will dwell with them." That is the biblical picture of our ultimate future. Heaven and earth united, God with His people, creation restored. To understand why that matters, go all the way back to Genesis. God created the earth, trees, rivers, animals, mountains, food, and human beings. And when He looked at what He had made, He did not say, "This is temporary and meaningless." He said it was very good. Sin damaged creation. But God's plan is not to throw His creation away. God's plan is redemption. Romans 8 says, creation itself is waiting to be liberated from its bondage to decay. Creation groans now, but it will not groan forever. Revelation shows us where the story is going. A new heaven, a new earth, a renewed world where everything broken by sin is finally made whole. So what does this new creation look like? Revelation gives us glimpses. John describes the New Jerusalem as unimaginably beautiful. The city shines with the glory of God. Its brilliance is compared to a precious jewel. Its gates are described as pearls. Its streets as pure gold. Its foundations decorated with precious stones. But the most amazing detail is not the gold. John says the city does not need the sun or moon to shine on it, because the glory of God gives it light, and the Lamb, Jesus, is its lamp. Imagine a world where darkness is gone. Not only physical darkness, spiritual darkness, fear, corruption, and evil. All gone. Then John writes one of the most beautiful promises in Scripture. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. No more death, no more mourning, no more crying, and no more pain. Think about what that means. No hospitals, no funerals, no cancer, no broken families, no anxiety about tomorrow, no waking up to terrible news, no watching someone you love disappear, no final goodbyes. The griefs that have broken human hearts for thousands of years will be gone. But heaven is not beautiful merely because suffering is absent. Heaven is beautiful because God is present. Revelation 22 says, "They will see His face." Think about that. Moses asked to see God's glory. David longed to seek God's face. The prophets caught glimpses. But one day, God's people will see Him. No distance. No wondering if your prayers are hitting the ceiling. No struggling to believe. Faith will become sight, and we will be with Him. But what will we actually do? Will we only sing forever? The Bible absolutely describes worship in eternity. Revelation shows countless people praising God. But biblical worship has always been bigger than singing. Worship is a whole life centered on God. And Scripture gives us clues that eternity will involve meaningful activity. Revelation 22 says, God's servants will serve Him. Then it says, they will reign forever and ever. Reign. That sounds a lot like God's original command in Genesis. When God created Adam and Eve, He told them to fill the earth, cultivate it, and exercise stewardship over creation. Human beings were created to build, create, explore, cultivate, work, and enjoy God's world. Work itself was not the curse. Painful, frustrating work came after the fall. Before sin, Adam had a job. He cared for the garden. So imagine work without exhaustion, without toxic ambition, without greed, without jealousy, and without failure caused by sin. Work where everything you do contributes to something beautiful. The Bible does not give us an eternal daily schedule, so we should not pretend it does. But the biblical picture is not eternal boredom. It is meaningful life in a restored creation under the perfect reign of God. And yes, there appears to be food. Jesus said people would come from east and west and take their places at the feast with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. After his resurrection, Jesus himself ate with his disciples. And Revelation describes the marriage supper of the Lamb. Will heavenly food work exactly like food does now? We do not know. But Scripture repeatedly uses the imagery of feasting and celebration. And here is another important detail. You will not spend eternity as a ghost. Christianity does not teach that our ultimate destiny is to escape our bodies forever. The Bible teaches resurrection. Paul says in 1 Corinthians 15 that the dead will be raised imperishable. Jesus rose physically. His disciples could touch him. He walked. He talked. He ate. Yet his resurrected body was transformed. And Scripture connects our resurrection to his. Imagine having a body that never becomes sick, never grows weak, and never ages toward death. No chronic pain. No physical decay. No fear that your best years are behind you. A body completely restored. But people often ask another question. Will we know each other? The Bible does not give every detail, but it gives strong reasons to believe our identities remain. At the Transfiguration, Moses was still Moses. Elijah was still Elijah. Jesus spoke of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob as recognizable individuals. Paul comforted believers with the hope that they would be together with the Lord. Eternity does not appear to erase who we are. It perfects what sin has damaged. Imagine relationships without insecurity, friendship without betrayal, love without manipulation, and community without pride. No jealousy, no abandonment, no misunderstanding caused by selfishness. Jesus taught that marriage as we know it will not continue in the resurrection, but love will not become smaller. It will become purer. Imagine knowing people without being afraid of losing them. And maybe one of the most exciting things about the new creation is how much the Bible does not tell us. What will we discover? What will we create? What will we learn? What will a universe without corruption be like? We simply do not know. And maybe that is intentional. Paul wrote, "What no eye has seen, what no ear has heard, and what no human mind has conceived, the things God has prepared for those who love him." Whatever our imagination can produce, God's reality will be greater. But we need to understand this. The greatest gift of heaven is not the golden streets. It is not even seeing loved ones again. It is not having a perfect body. It is not never facing another painful day. The greatest gift of heaven is Jesus. Because you could have every beautiful thing imaginable, but without God, it would not be heaven. That is why the final chapters of the Bible are not mainly about humans escaping earth. They are about God restoring what was lost. The Bible begins with God and humanity together in a garden. Then sin separates them, and the whole story of Scripture moves toward restoration. Finally, in Revelation, God and humanity are together again. Except this time, there is no serpent, no temptation, no death, and no possibility that evil will win again. The story ends where it began, with God dwelling with his people. So if you wonder what heaven will be like, do not imagine an endless cloud somewhere far away. Imagine everything beautiful about creation without everything that broke it. Imagine waking without fear, working without frustration, loving without losing, exploring without danger, and living without dying, and seeing the face of God. We do not know every detail, but we know enough. Enough to know you will not be bored. Enough to know you will not be suffering. Enough to know you will be home. If this changed how you think about heaven, tell me in the comments, what is the first thing you want to see in the new creation? And if you want to keep it simple, comment, "I want to see Jesus." If you enjoy discovering what the Bible actually says about questions like this, consider subscribing to Quiet Momentum. Every week we open Scripture together and explore truths that are easy to overlook, but powerful enough to change the way we see God. And remember, for the Christian, heaven is not simply leaving this broken world behind. It is the beginning of a world where everything broken has finally been made new.